UIC Halstead is next. Doors open on the left at UIC Halstead.
Well, hello, everyone. I'd like to officially welcome all of you to a brand new podcast that UIC Business is launching called Map Left Behind. I'm going to be your host. My name is Mel Diaz, and many of my students here call me Professor Mel. The basic premise of this podcast is that if we all took the time to share our life experiences with the next generation of young people, that we could make their paths just a little bit easier. But before I get too deep into the podcast, just a little bit about me. So I'm going on my 4th year of teaching here on campus. And I have to tell you, it's probably been one of the most rewarding experiences that I have. Coming back on campus and becoming a lecturer here was a dream come true. It was a bucket list item. And I can honestly tell you that it is a passion project of mine. But my history with UIC goes much further back. I was a young, lost, who lacked direction when I first stepped foot on this campus in the late 80s to get my undergraduate degree. And then once I completed my undergraduate degree, I did something that I thought I would never, ever do. I decided to come back. And I came back in the late 90s to get my MBA. More recently, I just retired. After a 35-year business career, I called it quits. But it was been planned for many, many years. Just like most folks who had a 35-year career, it had full of twists and turns. I experienced my share of disappointments, my share of failures. And luckily for me, I also had my share of success. The latter half of my career really focused on building teams and coaching and mentoring future leaders of the company. Many of those same young people are now fully established leaders and are working in leadership roles for organizations all over the country. Now, as much as I enjoyed coaching and mentoring in corporate America, there is something about doing the exact same thing here at UIC with the students here that makes it a little bit more special and deeply more personal. It's personal for me because on the many times that I came back on campus to pay a visit, to come back, to be a guest speaker, to help coach and mentor students here on campus, every time I come back and I see the students here and I engage with them, every single time I am reminded how much I see myself in all of them. UIC has changed a lot since it first opened its doors way back when it was over at Navy Pier. UIC today is a top research institution. It is a highly ranked university. UIC attracts the most talented students and top faculties, and they attract these folks from all over the globe. But with all that, with all those changes that UIC has experienced all these years, its purpose and its mission really hasn't changed. Today, UIC still serves people from within the community. And if you walk around campus, you're going to see them. UIC serves minorities, immigrants, young people from underserved communities, first-generation college students, and of course, the veterans coming back to get their degree. And if you knew a little bit about me, you'd know that I check off nearly all those boxes. That's why it's incredibly personal for me. And that's why at this stage in my life that I need to be here giving back. So let's talk about this podcast a little bit more and the motivation and the why behind it. It really started with the students here. Like I said earlier, I started teaching 4 years ago, roughly. And immediately once I started teaching here and I built a rapport with my students, they wanted to have conversations with me. And those conversations were primarily, basic questions about their major, concerns about their future, wondering what it's like to go through an interview process, and so on and so forth. What I also realized very quickly as the semesters went on that the conversations I was having with one student was so similar with the next student that wanted to share their thoughts and concerns with me. And that's when I kind of came up with that idea that these conversations really should be shared with all the students here on campus, because I'm sure there's many more students on campus that has the same questions, that has the same concerns, and to a certain degree is probably feeling a little bit alone. So for them to get any type of a guidance, I think will be a huge help for those folks. Another reason why we need to have this podcast is from my own personal experience. I grew up in a family who's, I'm a product of immigrant parents from an underserved community. We're minorities, right? And typically for folks in that type of demographics, the roadmap that your parents give to you is rather simple, rather straightforward, that you study, you get your degree, and you work hard. And as straightforward as that roadmap is, there's also something wrong with it. The best way to describe that roadmap is that it's incomplete. There were so many more other steps that my mom and dad simply did not know and was not able to share with me. And I learned that once I got into corporate America, and I'm noticing people passing me by and wondering, what am I doing wrong? Lastly, as I made it through the ranks in corporate America, and as I started climbing the corporate ladder, I need to be very honest with you. There were many days in which I felt completely alone. I felt that there wasn't really anyone out there who was advocating for me. And part of that reason is because I didn't see anyone in senior leadership that looked like me, that sounded like me, or came from a community like mine. That's why it's important, it's vital that stories like mine and similar to it get shared with the masses. Because there are many folks today, and many of them are UIC alums, that's going through the same challenges that I experienced in my career. So that's what we're going to do. We are going to create all these episodes with students, with alums, and an added bonus with corporate leaders. So starting this fall, I'm actually relaunching a class that I took when I was an undergraduate here. The class it's a leadership class called Executives in the Classroom. So we're going to be bringing in corporate leaders into the classroom to discuss their thoughts on leadership, challenges that their organizations face, and their roadmap, right? How did they get to where they're at today? And then ultimately, we want to know what they're looking for in the new generation of employees. So we're going to take all those conversations and we're going to make episodes out of all of them and share it with our community. So as I leave you with this first conversation that we're having, I'll end it with this. What map are you leaving behind?